My name is Jack Luke and I am not a downhill rider, but that doesn't stop me from enjoying the sheer madness that is this custom steel single-speed downhill bike from Starling Cycles. Now before I get started, let's get into the character of a downhill rider. I'm going to ditch the eco nice Earth Boy beanie in favour of a flat cap, which will allow me to better channel the energy of the downhill world, and already I'm sensing a craving for Monster Energy or Red Bull or something. Anyway, jokes aside, the bike is quite something. First, we'll tackle why single speed. Joe McEwen, the man behind Starling Cycles, claims that single speed makes a lot of sense for a downhill bike, and I sort of see where he's coming from. With gears, the chances are, if you are riding downhill, you may well come into a corner, or you may come into a section in completely the wrong gear. And the kind of delight of having just a really simple, easy to live with bike where you've got a hard enough gear that you're not going to be spinning out is quite appealing. I do get that. It also allows you to do some quite interesting things in terms of suspension kinematics and the actual drivetrain layout. And here we've got what's called a jack shaft arrangement. If you look closely, you'll see that on the opposite side from usual, with these lovely profile BMX cranks, we have the chainring. And this feeds into this kind of idler pulley sort of system, which is connected to the drive side, which then makes up the rest of your drivetrain. Now the benefit of this arrangement means that you can completely isolate the suspension from pedaling forces, which means you're going to get much more capable and more supple suspension than otherwise possible. I'm going to take off this hat now because I actually feel like an idiot, so see you later, continuity. This arrangement as it currently stands isn't possible with a geared drivetrain, though you do see quite similar things with like Commensal's Supreme with its high idler setup, and that's been proven to work very well with a number of wins on the World Cup circuit. We did have a little squish in the workshop, and it's amazing how well that jack shaft arrangement works. There is no pedal kickback whatsoever, and I can imagine that that suspension will be super sensitive when you're out on the trail. If you're particularly interested, the system is tensioned on the drive side with this little adjustable pulley here, and for the non-drive side, it's an eccentric BB as you see on tandems and some other things. It's just such a delightful thing to behold, and there's loads of little details which are absolutely wonderful. To start, it's got more fillets than a bloody butcher shop, and the actual build and the quality of that brazing is really nice. But for example, in the gusset here, we also have Starling's little signature Starling's laser cut out there, and it looks so nice. As for the build itself, it's a pretty cool mix of very hardcore stuff. As I mentioned already, we've got those profile BMX cranks, really stiff steel cranks, quite unusual to see those on a downhill bike. And then just Hope Pro 4 hubs, Magura brakes, all really reliable stuff that you're going to have a really hard time wearing out during a season of wet and grimy gnar downhill racing. The bike is also built around 29er wheels, which we are beginning to see more of in the downhill racing world, but they're not totally widely adopted yet, so it's quite interesting to see that Joe has chosen to use them here. And, as you would imagine, it's such a classic of the downhill world, the wheels are fitted with a set of Maxxis Minion DHF tyres, which are one of the most popular choices. Joe has no particular plans to bring this bike into production, though I'm sure if you make him an offer he can't refuse, he may well consider it. But it's being used more as a platform to develop some of his ideas. So for example, we've got this adjustable shock layout here, a little slider here, which allows you to adjust the kinematics of the suspension. And then throughout the rest of the frame, it's a good place for him to learn and kind of perfect some new techniques which he might port over to his more regular frames. If we ignore all of those delightful details, everything that makes this bike unique, we can at least appreciate that beautiful dark blue sparkly paint job, which I would love for one of my own bikes. This is actually going to be ridden by some of the guys in MBUK, and you're going to be able to read about how we got on with it in a future issue, so keep your eyes peeled out for that. Are you a downhill racer? Is there any tech on here you'd like to see ported to the world of downhill racing? As always, leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe.